And this is really a rolling campaign that matters. So well done. Give yourself a round of applause for making some noise here in Hereford today. You know, people say to me, how do you keep a campaign like this going? 31 towns and cities, probably tens of thousands of people now, huge amounts of national and regional media interest. You made this the 5th most political issue of concern raised with MPs in Britain last year. It was you that made that by marching up and down this country, by making noise, by going into the fields, by writing your letters, by lobbying your MPs. Because we're not going to go quiet. We care about wildlife in this country. We should be very, very proud about that history of tradition that we have. But we will only be able to do something if we stand up and fight for it. So don't you agree we're going to fight on? Yeah. This government have been lying to us, the public, have been lying to the media, have been lying to the farming industry with the help of certain individuals within that industry. And they've been basically killing our wildlife for absolutely nothing. Now, when they started this last round of culling at the very end of August, when they sneaked out that authorisation licence, just saying that they were going to continue culling in Gloucestershire and Somerset, and by the way, we're going to start culling in Dorset as well. After months of waiting, we got a Freedom of Information request come back, which actually told us line by line exactly how much they spent. And yes, we got that into the press. But that was £16.8 million. That was over £6,700 per badger. And you can be certain, over the last few months, when they've completed the last round of culling, you've probably spent 20 million quid now. 20 million pounds killing just over 3,000 badgers. We'll get the final figures probably in early December. That is absolute utter madness. Wouldn't you all agree? Yeah. You know, the worst thing about it is they have done a cost-benefit analysis. They have done within Whitehall a complete consideration of all the facts based upon how much they've spent and how beneficial it is. You know what the government said? It's not in the public interest for you to see that. It's not in the public interest for MPs to see that. And it's not in the public interest of the media to see that. What a load of manure. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah. And that's what we're up against. I'm afraid we're up against lies and deceit that go to the very heart of our government. And you know who's paying the biggest cost for this other than the poor badgers? It's the farmers themselves. Because they are basically going to the wall as the prices for their products are forced lower and lower. And at the same time, huge amounts of public money are being wasted, and the disease that they have a problem that causes a big social economic difficulty for this industry is not being tackled. And you know that the University of Exeter study that came out a few weeks ago only just reinforces what we've been saying for a long time. The main cause of TB spread in this country is intensive cattle systems. Wouldn't you agree? And you don't need to be Einstein to work that out. When you move millions of cattle, when you keep them indoors for months on end, when herds have gone up from an average of 50 to 100 in a herd that you might have found in the 1970s and 80s to 500, 1,000 or beyond now, we are going to see this disease spread. You know, the worst aspect of this is that we're told as if it was the badgers that spread the disease to cattle. It's the cattle that spread the disease to badgers. And not only badgers, into our other wildlife too. Into our deer, into our rabbits, into our rats and other animals that go back and forth. So let no one play the badger blame game. This is industrial pollution. And actually, the farming industry and the government should be paying to clean it up. Not by killing our wildlife, but actually putting in place changes to farming practices that actually get on top of this disease once and for all. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah. And it's not rocket science. We know what they are. The University of Exeter study, again, just reinforced it. Go forward with good cattle-based measures. As I said when I went on Country File a few months ago, biosecurity in this country is a mess. At the end of the day, if you want to keep wildlife and cattle apart, you can. But you need good fences, good gates, and you need to put in place good biosecurity. And let's not blame the badger for most of the problem. We know it's the cattle. We know silage is spread all over the farm, with no thought and consideration given to the fact that TB bacteria lives in it for extensive periods of time. We know that cattle connect with each other across fields because there's no hedges or effective barriers to them doing so anymore. We know that pre-movement testing is not working properly. We know that we lose large numbers of animals through cattle markets that have appalling biosecurity. It's no wonder this disease is not being kept under control. I'm afraid it's an absolute disaster and a disgrace that we haven't done what we should have done many years ago to stamp out TB in cattle. Would you agree? Yeah. And Mark's absolutely right. I'm afraid the livestock veterinary industry have a lot to answer for. At the end of the day, they are keeping this madness going too. It's not good enough for the BVA to say they don't agree with free shooting. That's easy. We all know that's cruel. We all know it's horrible. We all know it doesn't work. But then to say, actually, we don't agree with free shooting, but we'll allow this mad policy to go on as long as you cage and shoot the badgers, it's madness. It's not ethical. I'm afraid it's time for the veterinary industry to get off the fence and accept that the public don't support this, the vast majority of scientists don't support this, and ethically the veterinary industry will benefit if it said enough was enough, let's work with our farm industry clients to get on top of this disease, but without killing these animals. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah. And we've got to stop thinking about farming as purely an export business. Liz Truss has been out in China again, selling her pig semen and pork, and God knows what else she's up to. But at the end of the day, if they spend most of their time in China trying to say to our farmers, you're not going to survive unless you sell your products there, what does it mean here in Britain? It's not good enough that farmers are selling food to countries abroad at cheaper prices, when actually we would pay more for good quality food in this country as long as they produced it sustainably in a way that protects the environment. Wouldn't you agree? I don't want to see farmers go out of business. They are an integral, important part of our economy. But this is a big but. I do not accept producing cheap food for export markets to places like China that come at the cost of wiping out our wildlife. Do you agree? Yes. Exactly. And at the end of the day, the science matters, the cost matters. But you know, the most important thing is the ethics too. You know, we should have open and honest government. Maybe I'm naive, you're never going to get that completely. But we shouldn't see the level of deceit we've seen on this policy. This is our money. Our taxpayers' money that needs to be spent on our health system, our education, our police, and all the other things that matter to us, that is being squandered and wasted, killing what is a protected animal. And don't you think that we have the right to say what our money should be spent on? Yes? Exactly. And that's what we're saying to the Shadow Environment Secretary. That's what we're saying to the Environment Secretary, Liz Truss, and we'll keep hammering that home. But we've got to keep fighting. Now, what we're doing here today is critical, because unless people go into the fields and continue to monitor sets, continue to be that fine line about monitoring and being a witness to this brutal destruction of our wildlife, these people will get away with it. You can take pride in the fact that this cull has ground pretty much to a halt. It's in 3 counties. When Owen Paterson was Secretary of State, which you managed to bring his career to a rapid end, he wanted in 40 areas by now. Well, he hasn't got anywhere near that. Okay, and the other thing to remember is that DEFRA is running out of money fast. Many of us might not like George Osborne here, but he actually might be the saviour for our badgers in the end. He has just cut another 30% out of Liz's budget before she even got back from Shanghai. So while she was peddling her pork in China, he was taking the pork out of her department. Okay? So she's lost another 30% of her budget. Now that department, when Caroline Spelman was Secretary of State in 2010, had an operating budget of £2.5 billion. It's now got an operating budget of £1.3 billion. Okay? They've already lost thousands of staff. There's thousands more to go. Now, what are we going to spend our money on in the environment in this country? Wasting it killing badgers or building flood defences, looking after our wetland habitats and dealing with pollution and other problems that we know are real. Where do we spend that money? What do you think? Should we keep killing badgers? No. And the farming industry has to wake up, because if it wants to spend the hundreds of millions of pounds this crazy cull is going to cost, where are they going to find the money? The NFU don't have it. The farming industry as a whole don't have it. So unless we pay, this comes to an end. And you being in those fields, you ensuring that you are making the resources of the police be stretched a bit further, as they legitimately should do to police this cull, making sure that you bear witness to what goes on, ensures this is a costly exercise that poor old Liz Truss can no longer afford to pay out of her department's coffers. So you get yourself signed up, you get down there, and you get other people to do the same, because it makes a huge, huge difference. And not only that, we are becoming a generation that is standing for wildlife in a way that we haven't seen for decades. Now, the Badger Trust came about because people like you were chaining themselves to trees in the 1970s when the government last tried to gas badgers. People got angry. Before social media, they came together and they made their views very, very clear. By lobbying MPs, they set up the first legislation to protect these animals. The first badger groups were created in the late 60s, early 70s, and here we are today, 40-odd years on. But the Badger Trust is as important today as it was 40 odd years ago. We are the fine line between protecting these animals and seeing them destroyed. And it's not just culling of badgers. We see these animals snared, shot and gassed up and down this country every day. And because they're being killed for culling, it is a green light to those maniacs out there, I'm afraid. And they might be property developers, they might be landowners, they might be farmers, they might be just maniacs, there's a few of them around as well, who take some satisfaction in being cruel to wildlife. But the fact remains, the 3,000 plus badgers killed in these cull zones so far are dwarfed probably by the 10,000 plus that are killed every year through illegal killing. So we have a massive, massive fight in our hand there as well. And we also, Peter knows recently through some of the good work he's doing down in Gloucestershire, have a big battle of ex-property developers too. We are encroaching onto our green belt. And we are building more homes. But often the developers, I'm afraid, are not considering wildlife at all. There's not sufficient thought given in local government. Natural England is having its budgets cut even more, so it's going to get worse, not better. And there are many people out there who will bend the rules. So we need you keeping an eye on those who persecute badgers, being the eyes in the field. We need you protecting these sets to stop property developers destroying them. And we need you down in the cull zones to stop this mad cull policy going on. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah. So when you're finished, please go in here to the Badger Trust shop. And Susan is our new manager here, coming from Scottish Badgers, has worked really hard, so I'm really pleased to welcome her. Round of applause for Susan. We need more of you to become members of the Trust, okay? This is not about me, it's not about Peter, any of the board of the Trust, it's about these animals. Unless we get you to be members, we won't get the strength in the groups we need around this country. We are the firewall to protect these animals. So if you're not a member of the Trust, please become a member. Get involved with your local badger group. If there isn't a badger group, as Nigel has done, set one up. Make sure that in places like the West Midlands now and in Norfolk and in Yorkshire, we've got new groups springing up everywhere. Get off your backside and do something. You know what? It'll make you feel better, get you a bit of exercise, and you will be making a difference to protecting animals. This guy has done a huge amount, so let's get a big round of applause for Nigel Tolley. Incredible guy, incredible guy. So please, get in and sign yourself up as a member. Give it as a gift. What a wonderful gift. 25, how much does it cost to be a member of the Trust? Can someone tell me? 25 pounds, I think. But, you know, what a great gift. You know, rather than wasting buying some silly present from Boots or whatever, give them a Trust membership. Get them involved. Get them interested. Getting them politically active. You know, we are something different in this country. We're making a difference. It doesn't matter if I'm talking about elephants or rhinos or lions as I'm in London next week or dolphins. I've never seen such a big, vibrant wildlife movement as we have in this country today. And we are making a difference. We're rattling politicians. We're getting decisions taken, and we are beginning to see increasing protection for wildlife. But we can't take our fingers off the pedal. We've got to keep fighting hard. We will not give in. You keep doing what you do. We will keep doing what we do. And believe me, we will give these animals the protection they deserve. Thank you very much.